I was not a Scottie Barnes over Jalen Suggs guy, but
Mhm.
once the Raptors made that decision, I immediately rethink everything because it's, oh, Masai Ujiri spearheaded this decision. Like I'm missing something. What has most surprised you, impressed you about rookie year Scottie Barnes, who is playing, even if you expected him to play regularly, is playing a lot more than I ever saw him playing?
Yeah, I mean, especially like considering, last year was a COVID year for college. I don't watch any college basketball. I don't know how
No.
any of it works, but I imagine there weren't as many. I don't know. He was coming off the bench. I'm assuming not a lot of practices for them. I know that for a fact that they didn't really have practices because of COVID, and the games must have been sort of, I don't know, a condensed season. So for him to come from that to this where he's like playing 40 minutes a night, and like the rookie wall like comes, but he's just been able to push past that. He just had a game where he was 10 for 10 in the first half and just like grabbing up every single offensive board. I think what surprised me the most is, as someone who does not watch college basketball, I take everything that I know from like other people, just talking to people and hearing what they have to say. And I was told, Scotty's a zero level scorer. Like he doesn't have any finish around the rim. There's no mid range. He can't shoot a three. Like he's literally a zero level scorer was what I heard coming into it. And then his first basket in the NBA was this lefty skyhook, and I was like, "Excuse me, Kareem. Like what are we like?" So for one, I think I didn't think that he would have much touch. I mean, anyone who watched Friday Night All-Star Game was going to say that he doesn't, but he does. And he's been absolutely fantastic. One of my favorite plays of his this year was just him grabbing the ball directly out of Kevin Durant's hands. Like he was just like, yoink, I'm the adult and you're the skinny child here. Which surprises me every single time is his strength and his size. Like he's just so big for a rookie. And his ability to just not even see contact, being able to fit into this team defensively. Like I think he's probably the starter that has the most sort of like moments, but the Nick Nurse plays a very aggressive style defense, and the Raptors are able to lock down with him there. He's been absolutely superb with his size. It's his size, it's his strength, it's the fact that he's not a zero level scorer but can actually score the ball. He just is coming off of a 28 point game. There's not enough good things I can say about Scottie Barnes. I've been a big proponent of like wanting him to come off the bench a little. And that's been met with a lot of like ire from Raptor fans just because there's this title of being a starter and it feels like a demotion for a guy to come off the bench. But when he plays alongside Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, OG Anunoby, those are your top three guys, your first, second, and tertiary option. And that's not even mentioning Gary Trent Jr., who's had, five, I think, straight 30 plus point games. Like he factors in so much to this Raptors offense. I think that's a franchise leading record tied with DeMar DeRozan. So that makes Scottie the fifth option. And that means the ball's rarely in his hands. That means he kind of is playing a garbage man role. So I'd like to see him run a little bit with the bench so we actually truly sees what he has in terms of, handling the ball a little bit, playmaking, because he's able to see the court in a way that like Fred just can't because he's a foot taller than him. And so I'm interested to see more of that hopefully next season, and maybe even in the latter half of the year, just getting him more run with the bench guys.
Do you see that as like being the end game for him, is where they want him to be more of like sort of a from scratch creator, whether it's for himself and or others?
I hope so, because how crazy would that be if that guy's 6'9" with a 7-foot wingspan? Like, how insane would this Raptors team look if that's the case? So I hope so. And I the sky's the limit with the kid, because every limitation I've heard about his coming into the season, he's just absolutely smashed.
Yeah, I just absolutely floored. Like even him just moving through like super tight spaces in the half
Yeah.
court. And he's made like catch and shoot, like floaters, hooks, or just mid rangers a thing again. Which if it's like it doesn't look like you're watching 90s basketball, but he's like, that's part of his touch. Is it's not like he's pounding the ball and getting to these spots, but he's just like he's moving, he's getting through the defense, then he just has this touch like immediately off a catch. And it's just pretty much everything about him this season has floored me based on I don't watch any college basketball in real time. I will do a crash course before the draft and try and watch film. And like you said, you rely on people who are actually smart when it comes to college basketball. I was just like, I don't see it. And he's blown away. Literally, like even the Scottie Barnes optimists don't even seem like they saw this coming.
Yeah, the one person I will say is Coach David Thorpe. He was just like, he had Mobley and Barnes as number 1 and 2, and I think that that's what the Raptors had on their draft board as well. And he came onto our podcast, I think even before the season started, and said, like, the kid, like MVP level in 10 years is what we're talking about. And I was just like, what? I don't know what 10 years, maybe he said 5, but I was like, insane. So he's probably a little, it's very optimistic. I don't want to call a 20-year-old a potential MVP in 5 years, especially considering all of the limitations in his game still, but he's just been superb.